Hello, everybody, and welcome to our latest installment of the UXDX Online series. We have another two fantastic speakers lined up for you today, and I hope you're really excited and looking forward to their talks. But before we jump into the talks, I want to give a very quick introduction to what we're doing at UXDX and why we're hosting these sessions and what we're hoping that you get out of them. So our mission at UXDX is to help companies shift from building software through waterfall projects to using empowered autonomous product teams. And the reason why that's our mission is that we believe in a high change environment that it is a more effective, efficient, and sustainable way of working. And the reason why I gave that kind of caveat of a high change environment, if you're working in a low change environment, it's actually more efficient to build a team, fix something in one part of the system, disband the team, move off to another section. But in companies I've worked in, there's been 100+ projects running in parallel. So people are kind of almost continuously working across different areas. And that's when it makes more sense to have a static team who get to understand the customer, get to understand the business problem in a subset of your product, and get to become real experts and iterate and improve in that area. And that's where that empowered autonomous product teams comes in. Now, it's really easy to say, oh, let's just switch how we're working, but it's really hard to do in practice. And that's why we invite speakers to come along and share how they're doing things and how they're changing their ways of working to kind of enable this new, more autonomous, quicker ways of working and improve how their companies are building software. Now, hopefully, as the presentations occur, you'll come up with some questions, or you'll want to probe deeper into particular areas. And the speakers are really looking forward to any questions that you have to ask. So please feel free to ask them either in the YouTube chat, in the chat on the UXDX website, or whichever platform that you're watching this on. And we will pass those questions along to the speakers. Sometimes we run out of time to ask all of the questions, and that's why we have the UXDX community Slack group. And in there, we have the Ask the Speakers channel, where we can ask any questions that we don't have time to get through today. And we'll invite the speakers in to share or to answer those questions, any questions that arise. And this is also useful if you're watching this video when it's not live, you can still jump in there and ask any questions that come to mind. But that's enough about me and UXDX. You're not here to listen to me talk, you're here to listen to our amazing speakers. So with that, I'd like to introduce our first speaker, and it is Bogdan Anghel, who will be talking about the full stack designer, create your way. So welcome, Bogdan.
Okay, thanks very much for the introduction. So hello, everyone. I hope everyone's having a nice Thursday. I'm a senior technical designer at Bally's Corporation. And I'm taking care of design of a large part of the customer journey with a high focus on the technical aspects of design for a marketing web product. So I'm glad to have you here today for a short coffee break, a full-on breakfast, or maybe you're on your way to work, or simply you came to hear my talk, which I appreciate very much. So whatever the reason, I like to discuss with you this important topic today called career and the pursuit of happiness within it. So I'm not any career guru, I'm not an expert in life or any form of advisor, but I know what I enjoy doing, and gladly for me, I was able to juggle around and fail enough to find my way in life and career. So maybe you are there, or maybe you think you are there, having the career that you enjoy. But there's always a chance to look back and in time and learn more about ourselves. So I'm sure you have noticed in the slides above, we have three mostly unrelated pictures of different activities. It will shortly all make sense where I'm going with those pictures. Second. So I like to begin with the following fact. Did you know that we spend just about 1/3 of our lives at work? So it should come as no surprise that feelings of regret and self-doubt surrounding our careers can frequently bubble up. So normally the average person, they look something like this. So you sleep about 8 hours on average, ideally not on a bench as this guy or on your desk. So you work for about 8 hours every day, and you enjoy your life and freedom with the remaining 8 hours with your friends, different hobbies, or time with your family. So that's like the average person's day. Maybe sometimes less time in one way or another, but that's like an average. So when it comes to taking calculated risk is also an important part of life and can spell success when done properly. So it's no wonder that the 78% of respondents to a survey run by Zeti out of 1,000 people, they wish they had taken more career risk. With number one reason being to pursue a passion they had as part of their careers. So if you find yourself in the position where you're not entirely happy and or you're seeking, let's say, new opportunities or just a change that you like to have. So let me tell you a story about how I juggle stuff around and found my passion. As I'm sure, looking back at our past is a helpful way of doing things. As when we are young, we don't have so many filters and responsibilities. So we are mostly doing what we like doing and what we find, what comes naturally easy to us. Yeah, this is a perfect representation of me when I was around 12 years old, and I got one of my first computers. So obviously, I still had the block type of monitor and not the flat screen. So slightly different still from the picture, but it's a good representation. So all curly hair as well. Spending hours in front of my computer playing World of Warcraft, FIFA, Diablo, and Grand Theft Auto seems, they thinking I'm an architect already, and and also learning English out of necessity, of course, to complete quests and talk to strangers. Thing that you shouldn't really do as a kid, but who cares? Because as it was all online, right? And my parents didn't really know too much about technology yet, so it was all fine, right? And just about 2 or 3 years later, I guess things got slightly bit more serious for me. I was getting tired of playing on what others built, as it didn't really meet my imagination entirely, and I was, seeing things differently than what was given to me through those games. So I started to build a gaming community forum that managed to get just over 1,000 members. So I was managing the whole platform myself. That's still live at this point, although I lost like credentials and not accepting more members because it was like a free form board type of thing that you can create yourself and it goes live on their own domain. But I'm sure their link is still somewhere available. So I built a private game server for World of Warcraft that made me learn SQL queries and database management. I learned Lua to create like scripts for players, portals, or create different vendors for non-playable characters. I also set up a website where users could see the status of the website and register their account. So I also had my first YouTube channel launch where I was making gaming related tutorials, gaining a few thousand of views per view. Also learned Photoshop to design logos for my community forum and for my gaming server, and website as well, and banners to promote what I was doing. So not to mention all the soft skills and management abilities that I earned out of those. So kind of a word spread around about my skills from people who know me via community forums or simply Skype, as they were sharing, my ID back then, and I was in a lot of people's list, and they were like messaging. So I was getting paid to do graphics for them. Now explain that to your parents who are still, struggling to work Yahoo Messenger and asking you to write holiday messages to all the contact lists on their Motorola phones. So anyway, during that phase of my life, I postponed parts of my activities to pursue football at the local team. So I wanted to be a football player. I think maybe that fits me better. And a few years later, ended my short football career, let's say. And meanwhile, I got good at graphics and web design. So you can see some of my designs from around that time on the right side. I was making good side income, I would say, to get me to both high school and university. So not like a large sum of money, but enough for me as a teenager to be good for me. So you can imagine I was quite passionate about design in general as I kept doing it. But I decided it wasn't really useful for me to get a degree in arts, let's say, as I was already skilled. And if people are paying me, then I guess I must be good at it. So I decided to use my tuition fee loan to study programming and development to make my designs functional. I finished my degree due to the necessity of not losing the £27,000 debt for university without actually earning the degree. But I didn't really enjoy it as much. It wasn't so much for me, let's say. It was helpful, but I wasn't, let's say, too passionate about the advanced backend stuff. I like to learn about it, but not being, actually involved in coding as much. So although I had taken product design or interaction design, as it was called back then, part of my degree in the final year, which actually uncovered completely new horizon for me as a person passionate about design. So, all those things that I've presented you today about my life are all examples of experience that develop our personalities, skills, and abilities, and shape us as persons with different characteristics and different roles in the society at the workplace. What's important now is to know that it's within our DNA to do some things right and to do some things bad. So it's within our DNA to be better or be worse than somebody else. Take myself as an example. I found football to be cool and I really want to do it. And well, I still think it is. And I occasionally played, but it wasn't really the right option for me. So although you have to go within a journey of self-awareness and look back at your past to identify key characteristics and abilities that you have developed and that shape you today. So I'm not playing football today, but I understand teamwork and perseverance to train a skill until you are good at it. I understand and have empathy for other people, just as I was managing that 1,000-member community and felt responsible for it. So I'm aware of what running a business means, and running a business to a small degree from back then, let's say, and wearing multiple hats or managing clients, just as I was working for clients around the world as a teenager, but having no clue at that time what it actually meant and how it will help me in the future. So I encourage you today to look back at your past and identify things that you enjoy doing, and just identify how your personality was shaped by your past experiences, and try to break down things from your past. So in 2018, I've joined GameSys as a marketing designer initially, and slowly I was taking web design tasks more and more. By the way, on the side note, GameSys is now Bally's Interactive. So I was taking every opportunity to do things different and diversify my work here. If it was a task that was different, I was the first to raise my hand to do it. So as we have discussed self-awareness, I have discovered that I can't do only one thing, and I need to be involved in more, in the bigger picture of things, and I'm always asking questions as well. So moving a bit forward, I was promoted to a senior technical designer, or a role that was, let's say, specifically created for my unique skill set, as I was between a few to have a technical expertise to develop working web products, but also to do, let's say, pixel perfect web designs and design brands as well, while being involved in the entire customer journey. So you might say that your role doesn't really allow you to do what you like, or there might not be a chance to have the role that you want. But ask yourself first: are you taking each opportunity that is given to you to prove the benefits of doing what you love? Are you going the extra mile, proving your skill set is worth? Because you have to remember that you're probably working for a business, and if you can't prove with real data that they need your skill set, then you're not going to be really worth it, let's say. So I ended up with a unique role simply because I was taking opportunities to do more than I was asked to. And even though it meant, sometimes working my own time at different points, not because I was forced or anything, but because I like what I do, and I often do it for myself just to learn, just because I enjoy doing it. And this gets us to another important point. So you have to like what you're doing so you can progress. There's a Japanese concept referring to something that gives a person a sense of purpose and a reason for living. That's called ikigai. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. And that allows us to get exponential progression towards a role once you acknowledge and leverage your attributes. So the westernized version of Ikigai says you found your dream career when your career includes these four qualities. So what you love, what you are good at, what you can be paid for, and what the world needs. So I encourage you to take the time and write down on paper your thoughts with this concept in mind, and looking back at what shaped your past, and to identify what you enjoy doing and what you're good at. Lastly, I want to discuss a bit more about what being a full stack designer, as I felt that I didn't talk too much about it, even though it's also in the title. First of all, if you have identified yourself in a lot of things that I mentioned, and you are a creative professional, it's most likely you are having a similar passion and skill set as me, when you're likely involved in many parts of the product or web development process, and not only design. So that's often described as being a generalist in many workplaces. So being a full stack designer means someone expert in one area, either being a creative design, front end, or user experience design, and having one or more side skills are taken to a high level of expertise, such as front end development in my case. So it's a bit of a mix and match, say, where you are best at what you are passionate about, and you have some side skills that are taken to a high level. So in the case where you are not necessarily doing it, you can direct others or train others to do things right as you would do. So I know that it looks a bit like a T-shaped position, but being that means you are going to be expert in one field and relevant other skills that you are not necessary at the level which you would be able to do as a standalone position doing just that skill. So thank you very much for listening. That was me. If you enjoyed this, I also have a YouTube channel where I post, let's say, more practical skills. We dive a bit into Figma and similar tutorials and videos, which you might find helpful. So that's my YouTube channel. I'm still trying to grow it. You have my LinkedIn there. Feel free to connect with me and let me know any of your questions. And that's also my Instagram in case you are using Instagram a bit more than the others. So yeah, thanks very much for having me today.
Great, thank you, Bogdan. That was a really interesting personal history there of how you got into your fingers in so many different pies and technical skills. So yeah, one of the things that jumped out to me during your talk was, I guess a lot of people might have a similar. They're not sure what they want to do. So as you said during university, you didn't really want to go down the technical route. So do you have any advice for people who are still not 100% sure which direction they should go in their career?
So what I would say, I think it can be simple, just as looking at what you actually enjoy. I mean, it sounds cliche, but it's actually that. Because as I was saying, in my case, I do things, take tutorials or just try to create something by myself, just because I enjoy having the pleasure of seeing it done. I enjoy the process of doing it. So if you're not enjoying that, um, it will be hard for you to progress further, because you're not doing it from passion. You're doing it because you are forced. So I think it's just looking at having a self-awareness about yourself and what us referring to the concept that I presented during the presentation, the Ikigai. I think writing down your ideas, and your thoughts about yourself, also looking back at your past, will help identify that.
Yeah, that's a great approach. And then the second question that's come up is, it can be sometimes difficult when you're a little bit of a generalist in that you can do design, dev, like different roles, but often companies are looking for a specialist, and that can be difficult when you're trying to apply for a job or express your skill set in an interview. So have you encountered that kind of challenge of people are looking for more of, they're trying to put you in a box? Are you a designer? Are you a developer? And how do you overcome that?
Yeah, I think because in my case, it's a bit hard to do one thing like that. Let's say, because I had all this past, involved in different things, that is part of my personality and what I like doing, and I like to see myself as a person who's, because I'm also into entrepreneurship, right? So where you, as a person, you like to see the perspective of how things work, like on the bigger picture. So you can't really do everything. You have to look, you know, um, let's say, have expertise in different fields, but you cannot be the best at one field. I mean, that's, let's say, the overall concept of being a generalist, what it means. But think about the fact that there needs to be someone to oversee all the process, to oversee all those, let's say, people working, being a specialist in one thing. But there needs to be someone to oversee the whole process and understand everything that's going on. So I think it also depends on you what you like, again, to do. If you like to be involved in the whole process, I'm sure there is a place for you where you get to manage the entire process and have expertise, because also you can't do everything at once. Once you learn those things, you have to go, let's say, one by one. So as in my case, I was learning design, I was learning development, and at that point learning how to manage, let's say, clients, as I was doing freelancing. So you can't do everything at once. You have to try, and obviously if it doesn't work for you to be a specialist in that, then you have the expertise, you understand what's going on there, because you put the time to learn. So it's not, let's say, time that's lost. It's time that you get some valuable skills in the end, and that helps you if you want to go and manage the entire process. That's actually something for myself in this case. So I hope that actually answers your question.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a great answer, and I'm actually a big fan of the generalist kind of approach, because I think particularly with the move to product teams, you can't have pure specialists in a product team, because you need people who can move around and help out where it's needed. So I think it's a great example of where people can go and move forward with. But I think, we have another question come in from Drax. And his question is computer science background, would it be helpful to be a UX designer?
If it will be helpful to be a UX designer?
To have a computer science background?
I would say it's helpful, just because, while being a UX designer, you will be involved in, let's say, a big part of the development process. So you will be there, at the base, at where a new feature or a new product starts. So you have to think not just about that. You have to think also about a bit about the development process and how you are going to translate your solutions. And especially if you are working with some, let's say you have an iOS app that's there. You have to think a bit about the about the technical limitations and how you're going to translate your solution to the development. You are going to collaborate with other people. So I think it's helpful to have that, definitely.
Yeah, I think, just to jump in, I think it's helpful, but I wouldn't say it's necessary for everybody out there. I think it's useful. Yeah. But in case, Drax, you're wondering if you have to change your degree now to become a UX designer.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Great. Okay, I think that's all of the questions that have come in. So might finish up just a minute early. But thank you very much, Bogdan, for sharing your experience. I thought it was a really interesting insight into how you moved from kind of your early childhood gaming right through and your short-lived soccer career.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me. And have a nice day, everyone.
Excellent. Thank you. So up next, we have Trista Pan, who will be talking to us about how to perform cloud migration by leveraging Apache ShardingSphere database mesh capabilities. And just for context, before I finish introducing Trista, the idea of UXDX is to pull together product, UX design, and dev. So this is going to be a more technical talk, but the purpose is exactly what we were just talking about in the last session. If you can build your T-shaped skill, if you can understand a bit more about what's happening in some of the other parts of the product development lifecycle, you'll be able to contribute better as a team member, and it kind of builds that generalist capability. So with that kind of introduction, I would like to introduce Trista, who will be sharing her story. So welcome, Trista.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, so wait a moment, let me share my screen. All right, so hello everyone. I agree with that. We discussed in the previous talk that no matter it's about the product or about the tech part, actually, if we can, share our ideas, make us in the same page, then that will be great to make the cooperation between the product team and the tech team to work together. So today, my talk, actually, it's a little tech part, because you can see this topic. It's about your database. It's about the distributed system. It's about the Kubernetes. So when I mention 3 hot words today, people will consider that, oh, it's a little far from my work. But today, actually, I just want to make this topic become a little more product, right? So I just gave the introduction about this solution, about what is happening in the database and in the Kubernetes in this distributed system. So if you are a product manager, and that will be great for you to get such the useful messages for your company's product, or for you to give some suggestions for the other team members, right? So let's get started with my talk, because today I only have 25 minutes. So in this slides, there is a demo show. I have no time to introduce the demo. If you're interested in the demo, I guess you can later on refer to this slides and to do the demo by yourself, right? So today we will just focus on the solution and focus on the 3 keywords: distributed system, database system, and Kubernetes. This profile, it's about myself. I'm the Trista Pan, and now it's the Sophia's co-founder and the CTO. Also because I spent a lot of time in the Apache open source software foundation. So I'm the Apache member and the incubator project mentor. That means my role actually is a mixed one. Sometimes I need to help our tech team to do the technical development part. The second one, because our product or the company's product, it's about the infrastructure, databases product. So sometimes I need to switch my role to be the product manager to help to design the database distributed system from the product manager perspective, right? So that's my role. And now I'm the ShardingSphere PMC, ShardingSphere project. It's a top live project of the Apache Software Foundation. And today we will leverage this product to introduce how to use it for your distributed database system on the Kubernetes. Sometimes I will post some articles about the open source, about the community, about the product, about the tech part, around all the stuff. So if you're interested in such topics, you can just give a look on my Twitter or LinkedIn, right? Today, first, let us get into the background about digital transformation, because I guess everyone knows this word. Digital transformation. People want to leverage the new technology to help them to provide them more productive and the great product to our end user, or totally change the delivery paradigm, or to change the delivery culture. All the stuff. So that's about the digital transformation. First, about the new technology. Second one, it's the paradigm, or it's the culture change. So that's the background. Because of this background, people actually have the new needs for our database system and for our cloud. Because you know that nowadays, when people into the big data, in era, right? So you found that your databases, maybe you found your website visiting becomes so slow, right? So why did it become so slow? Because your databases need to help you manage the random data, right? So, and in that the situation, how to make your database product to support you're visiting, from your application, from your website, and how to make it become secure, and how to make it become the skill in, skill out, elastic skill, all of the new needs from the big data, from the digital transformation background. Here, I list the people's new requests for your database system. The large data to manage the efficient queries, and you need to do the traffic governance and how to reach the elastic scaling goal and an out-of-the-box deployment, right? So that means at the beginning, maybe you have your good PostgreSQL or MySQL. They're so great, work on the premise or on the cloud. But now you need to do some change about this database infrastructure. So in order to reach such goals, actually you need the following technique. First, data sharding. Data sharding means that at the beginning, you only have the one single database, right? But now you want to make the single database is split it into a lot of small portion, which will be located in different machine or different location. And that's one about your traffic governance. That means you need to improve the high availability of your system and to governance your each queries, to leverage your replicas, your databases, to make the throughput become higher, right? And that's one about reshard. That means you want your database system can have the elastic scaling feature. So your new database system can help you to reshard your databases. And that's one that we can use the Helm or operator on the Kubernetes, this mature and wonderful platform or cluster to help you manage your database cluster and to also at the same time retrieve the 3 points, 3 points, right? So that's the new needs, and we need to the new technique. And now we need a solution to help us to include all of the new technique into one solution. That means this solution can provide the out-of-the-box a product or project for you just to use. So the next part, I will introduce how to present this solution for you to reach the following new requirements. I need to first give the brief introduction about our monolithic database, because if we want to solve issues, we need to first consider what's the database, and then we use the database's functions to upgrade it, become the current modern database system. So what's a database? Actually, there are 2 major functions of your database system. The first one, computing capability. The second one, storage capability. So for the monolithic databases, for example, PostgreSQL, actually each of them have the computing capability and the storage capability, but they will put 2 of the layer or 2 of the components to work together in the same machine. That means they are monolithic databases. But in a distributed database system or in a sharding database system, actually the computing components and the storage component, they are distributed in the different locations in this world. So that's the major difference between the monolith databases and the modern distributed or sharding database system. So now if we want to make our traditional databases to upgrade, become a distributed one, that means we need to split the computing nodes or the storage nodes into different machine or different locations. So that's the approach to solve this issue. That means before, maybe your database infrastructure like this one, your application just visit directly with your PostgreSQL or MySQL cluster. With here or with these primary nodes or replica nodes. But now, if we want to like here after, you will have this modern database infrastructure. How to reach that? That means we need to import another component between your application and your traditional databases. So your application will just visit this new component. And this new component, it will work as a computing node of this distributed database system. And your traditional databases at this time, at this point, it will become the storage nodes of this distributed database system. That means this new component plus your traditional databases will become a new distributed database system. And in system, the new component, it's a computing layer, and your traditional databases, no matter it's a MySQL, Oracle, or SQL Server, or PostgreSQL, will act as the storage nodes, right? So that's the new solution. Because we use this new one, we can upgrade your previous database infrastructure, become a distributed one. And your application can just visit this computing nodes or this database proxy. And this database proxy will help your end user or application to manage all of your thousands or hundreds your databases cluster. And you don't need to care about the auto-scaling or about the traffic governance or about the data sharding. All of the features will be taken over by this database proxy or this computing nodes for your application. Your application just think that there is a distributed system, and it will don't care about all of the technical details about how to auto-scaling, how to do the traffic governance, how to do the how to input the high availability of this database system. Now, all of the features are transparent for our application. So here we use this, we leverage the new components and make the new component merge with your traditional databases and make it become a distributed one. What's this new component? That's the ShardingSphere. ShardingSphere, it's the Apache top-level project. Actually, you can see here its slogan. ShardingSphere, it's an ecosystem or it's a proxy to transfer your any databases, become a distributed one, and enhance it with the sharding feature, elastic scaling feature, or data encryption feature. So by using this ShardingSphere proxy project, then we can upgrade your traditional MySQL or PostgreSQL database become a distributed one. Actually, ShardingSphere has been open sourced for more than 5 years. So you can see here, this project has a mature community. We also have like more than 400 contributors and already released for, nearly 50. So I guess if you have any questions, this community will answer your question, will provide their help as soon as possible. And his document also can help you to quickly set up this project for your environment. Yeah, so by you this one, and we can upgrade your database system, existing database system, become a distributed one. Actually, this project provides two clients for our end user to choose. First one named ShardingSphere JDBC. It's for your Java, application. It's a lightweight Java Java, and if your application was developed by the Java, then you can just use the Maven artifact and use this client, and it can help you to do all the features I mentioned before, and it can upgrade all of the databases become a distributed one and help our end user or your application to manage all of the database cluster. The next client is the ShardingSphere proxy. ShardingSphere proxy, it's a database proxy. It works as the database server, distributed server. So you need to deploy the ShardingSphere proxy in a single machine. That means, look here, compared to the JDBC, it needs to be deployed independently. And JDBC just need to independent with your application together, right? So ShardingSphere proxy, you can just use your MySQL protocol or your PostgreSQL, the third-party connection approach to connect to ShardingSphere proxy, and that means it will not totally change your previous way to connect your monolithic databases, right? And then it's actually ShardingSphere proxy, JDBC, they share the same features like I mentioned before. They are just the two clients for you to choose. So if you, no matter you use ShardingSphere JDBC or ShardingSphere proxy, it can help you finish the following features: data sharding, elastic scale out, and distribute transaction, rewrite splitting, and authentication. All of the security issue or data sharding issue or scale out, scale in issue, right? But today in my demo, I just use ShardingSphere proxy and to help user to solve the data distributed issue. That means the data sharding issue. Yeah, so the next part, I will give the solution actually, because I mentioned a lot about this architecture of your new database infrastructure. The next one, that how do we efficiently deliver this product to our end user? That means we need to use the Kubernetes system. Here in this repo, ShardingSphere on Cloud, it provides many ShardingSphere charts. That means you use Helm, then it can help you deploy ShardingSphere cluster and ShardingSphere operator into your Kubernetes system. That means you can just use a few comments on your CLI, then you can do some of the demo for testing. ShardingSphere charts, it can help you deploy and upgrade ShardingSphere cluster, and ShardingSphere operator, it can guarantee the high availability and scale out the HPA of ShardingSphere clients. So there are different charts for the different functions, but we recommend you can use them together. So you don't worry about from the deployment to upgrade to HPA, high availability, all of the features, right? So we recommend our end users use them together. All right, so that's all about today's solution. And next part, if you use ShardingSphere charts to deploy ShardingSphere on the Kubernetes, and that part, maybe you need to use one of the PostgreSQL charts to deploy your Postgres on the Kubernetes. That means by use PostgreSQL charts, you have your storage nodes, and by use ShardingSphere charts, you will have your computing nodes. So, like I mentioned before, your computing nodes plus storage nodes will become the final distributed database system for your application, right? So for your application, they can just use the previous approach to connect to this new database distributed system, and to help you do the database sharding and improve the throughput, and also can make each query become faster than before. So that's all of the capabilities of this new database system. And now for example, you deploy PostgreSQL here, and also about ShardingSphere, and your application just visit the ShardingSphere proxy to tell ShardingSphere proxy and your databases that, hey, I just want to split like this T order table become the 1, 2, 3, 4 subtables in your database system. Could you help me do the data sharding, or could you help me do the rewrite splitting? You can just tell the ShardingSphere all the what you want by SQL, and then ShardingSphere proxy can automatically to deal with all of your requests from your end user, and to manage your databases, and to do the global computing for your each query. So the next part, handle process over SQL. That means, your application just send your queries to this ShardingSphere proxy, and ShardingSphere proxy by use some sharding algorithm or some the strategies to help you find the target row or target record, and get the record to do the global computing and send the result to your end user. So even though we upgraded by using ShardingSphere proxy, but the process of the SQL actually have no changes compared to the previous one, because for database system, we don't change his computing power and the storage power. We just make it become stronger, become more powerful. But actually, for the handling process of a SQL, they are unchangeable, right? Okay, so that's all about the solutions introduction. The next part, it's about the demo show, but we have no enough time to introduce them step by one step. But actually, I want to see that I gave each steps for you to refer to these slides to do the demo by yourself. And you can see here, for example, here, if you, here you execute the SQL, this one from the ShardingSphere proxy, then you can get the result right here. But if you log in your actual storage nodes or PostgreSQL instance, you will find actually let me see. You will find that in your actual databases, there are many, sub-rows or sub-readout from each PostgreSQL instance. So that's the function of our ShardingSphere proxy. It will hide all of the sub-readout or the actual rows. It will just give you the final readout, so people will no worry about all of the the middle readout from this database system. All right, so that's all about today's talk. Yeah. So any questions?
Hi, Trista. Thank you for that. I think you covered that in quite a bit of detail, so it was interesting to see. And it's a problem that people might not be aware of happens as frequently, where your database just kind of starts getting slow, and you have to figure out how to solve it. And one thing that did come to mind, and a question that came up, is what would be the benefit, and when should companies start looking down this kind of sharding route, or maybe looking at a less hands-on, maybe migrate to Cockroach DB or something like that, where the database itself and the hosting is kind of managed elsewhere? serverless host, maybe Aurora or something like that.
All right. Okay. So actually, when we see the CockroachDB or other, distributed databases, they also use the same technique here, like the data sharding, because CockroachDB also have a lot of the distributed instance. But here, the major different one, that is your CockroachDB, their storage layer, they use another storage components like a KV or other storage types. But here, this solution, it also share the sharding technique, but it use your traditional databases to work as the storage layer. So the benefit from today's solution is that because if you want to choose distributed databases, for example, the CockroachDB or Aurora databases, that means you need to migrate your original, all of your data into a new one, right? So that is a danger, action for our DevOps team or DBA, right? But today's solution, you don't need to do any change about your previous database cluster and just import your a new computing nodes in this in your previous database system, so you can share the same data sharding technique with the new databases, the Cockroach databases or Aurora. So I guess for any users, you need to base your scenarios to choose all of the types of databases. And if you want to, just develop from the scratch, right? So it's okay for you to choose CockroachDB or the UXDX or the Aurora databases. That's fine. But if you are a little worried about that, if I don't want to do anything to my existing databases, I just make it upgrade, then you can choose today's solution.
Great. No, that's a great answer, and thanks for clarifying, because yeah, migrating your database is no easy feat.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
So yeah, I think that brings us to the end. So thank you very much for sharing, and really enjoyed the talk, and I hope everybody out there did as well. So thank you very much.
Yeah, so see you next time, guys. I'm sorry you can endure this tedious slot to listen to this text speak. Thanks, everyone.
No problem. Thank you. So that brings us to the end. But if you did enjoy our session, we are hosting a larger conference. Our next one coming up is in New York, in our USA conference. We'll have 25 speakers, we'll have over 800 attendees, and we'll have a mix of product, UX, design, and dev. Multiple stages, so you'll get to choose which ones that you want to go see, but you'll be able to mingle with other people. You'll be able to get that kind of cross-functional knowledge that we're trying to help teams develop to move towards product teams. So if you did enjoy what we did today, then please do come along and join us in USA. But if not, we'll see you at our next UXDX Online. Thank you very much. Goodbye.